This is a case of long-standing vitreous hemorrhage in a young male of 27 years of age. The Montu test performed in this patient showed a positive result of 30 into 30 millimeters on the skin area. We start this case with the vitrectomy in the anterior hyaloid face without the use of biome. After anterior hyaloid vitrectomy, we start with the posterior vitrectomy. An opening is made in the middle of previously organized vitreous hemorrhage, through which we can see a relatively fresh bleed oozing out. The previously organized vitreous hemorrhage is cleared by remaining at the margin and clearing it subsequently and proceeding towards the periphery. This thick fibrovascular proliferation was present over the top of the optic disc. This is cleared with the cutter, and now we can see the optic disc beneath it. As we clear the vitreous hemorrhage in the periphery, we can see a relatively fresh blood lying over the posterior pole. We try to disperse the bleed over the posterior pole using a back flush cannula, which ejects a forceful jet of fluid. Once the bleed is dispersed in the vitreous cavity, it can be removed using the suction mode of the vitrectomy. This step is repeated a few times using a back flush cannula to disperse the fluid which has been settled over the posterior pole till it is completely dispersed in the vitreous cavity. Once the bleed is dispersed, it can be removed using the suction mode of the vitreotome. Our goal here is to completely remove the vitreous, which includes vitreous base shaving using scleral indentation. Here the bulge of retina which we see is caused by external indentation. The inferotemporal area is the actual source of bleeding. This area has signs of vascular obstruction, ischemia, and neovascularization. And this neovascularization is the actual source of recurrent vitreous hemorrhage, which led to an organized vitreous hemorrhage in this young patient. The area of retina, which is affected by vasculitis, in this case, will be treating using an endolaser. The endolaser is thoroughly performed. The area of retina, which was spared by the vasculitis and was uninvolved, did not require endolaser. Once the endolaser is completed, fluid air exchange is performed. After a complete fluid air exchange, we keep the pressure at 30 millimeters of mercury and we look for any signs of recurrent hemorrhage. After waiting for approximately 3 to 5 minutes, we didn't notice any vitreous hemorrhage, so we decided to use air only as a tamponade in this case. This is followed by suturing of all the ports using 70 Vicryl. Care should be taken to notice any leaks of air from these ports. The patient after surgery is doing well and has a vision of 6 by 12, 2 weeks post-op.